Today, we are diving deep into a speech that's been called one of the most influential and, frankly, one of the most radical ever recorded. We're talking about the Sermon on the Mount from the 5th chapter of Matthew. And look, don't mistake this for just another religious text. This is a powerful piece of ethical philosophy that has shaped cultures for 2,000 years, and it challenges our very idea of what it even means to be good.
I mean, its ideas have inspired everyone from Gandhi to Martin Luther King Jr. So, what makes it so powerful? What's the secret sauce? Well, it completely redefines what it means to be a good person by shifting the focus away from our actions to our inner character.
So let's just picture the scene for a second. We're not talking about a small, intimate classroom here. There's a huge crowd of people. A teacher climbs a mountain, a classic setting for a big reveal, and he starts to speak. The stage is set for something truly game-changing.
Now here's what's so interesting. This teaching doesn't start with a list of rules, a bunch of do this, don't do that. No, it starts by describing the citizens of this new kind of kingdom. And you're going to see their values are completely upside down compared to, well, the rest of the world.
Think about this. The first qualification for getting this blessing isn't power or wealth or success, it's being poor in spirit. Basically, admitting you don't have all the answers, recognizing your own spiritual need. It all starts with humility, not self-sufficiency.
And this is where you really see the paradox at the heart of the whole sermon, right? In a world that tells you aggression and dominance are how you get ahead, this new kingdom says, no, true power, true inheritance, that comes from meekness, from a gentle, controlled strength.
So the hero of this story isn't the conqueror, it's not the warrior. The highest honor, the highest praise goes to the peacemakers, the people who are actively working to build bridges and heal conflict. It's a proactive job, not a passive one.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? Right from the jump, this sermon flips the script. It argues that real blessing, real honor, is found in things like mourning and mercy and humility. The very qualities our world often writes off as weaknesses. This is a radical reordering of how we see the world.
Okay, so after defining who belongs in this kingdom, the sermon turns to the law. And you might be thinking, all right, is he here to just scrap all the old rules? Not at all. In fact, he's here to do the opposite. He's here to raise the standard.
This line right here is absolutely crucial for understanding everything that comes next. He's not getting rid of the moral code, he's going deeper, showing what it was always truly about. This isn't a replacement, it's an intensification.
And believe me, he sets the bar incredibly high. He basically says that to even enter this kingdom, your idea of righteousness has to be greater than that of the scribes and Pharisees, who were, the most outwardly religious people of that time. So this isn't about just checking boxes anymore. It's a whole new level of commitment.
So, how do you even do that? Well, the next part of the sermon gives us a series of really powerful examples, and they all follow the same pattern. They all shift the focus of morality from what you do on the outside to who you are on the inside.
Okay, let's break down the first one. He starts with a law that everybody agrees on. Do not murder. It's clear, it's about an action, it's a no-brainer. Simple enough, right?
But then, here comes the fulfillment. The new standard says that the root of murder, that unjustified anger, that contempt, calling someone a fool, that is now just as morally serious as the act itself. Your internal state is just as important as your external action.
And he uses the exact same structure again. Here's the old standard, another very clear action-based law. Don't commit the physical act of adultery. And boom, the moral focus shifts completely inward. He equates the internal decision to lust with the external act itself. Suddenly, the battleground for morality moves from the bedroom straight into the human heart. Now for what is maybe the most radical shift of all. He quotes that ancient principle of justice, an eye for an eye. Now, originally, that law was actually designed to limit revenge, to stop violence from spiraling out of control. It was about making punishment proportional.
The fulfillment here just completely shatters that logic of getting even. Instead of seeking proportional revenge, the command is to absorb the hit and respond with this proactive, shocking generosity. Turn the other cheek. If someone forces you to go 1 mile, you choose to go 2. This isn't about being a doormat. It's a form of radical, nonviolent resistance. So after pushing the moral boundary from action to intention, from getting even to not resisting at all, the sermon builds to its logical and most demanding climax. It's all been leading to this, one final command.
And there it is.
Probably the most famous and, let's be honest, the most difficult teaching in the entire sermon. It goes against every single one of our natural instincts for self-preservation and for sticking with our own tribe. I mean, love your friends? That's easy. Love people who love you back? That's just a transaction. But to love your enemies? Wow.
And that leads to the question that everybody asks. Why? Why command something that seems so impossible, so contrary to our very nature? Is this just some nice, idealistic, wishful thinking?
Well, the sermon actually gives us the logic. The goal is to imitate a divine nature that doesn't play by our rules of reciprocity. The sun shines on everyone, right? The rain falls on everyone, good or bad. To love only the people who love you back, that's just ordinary. That's what everyone does. The standard here is to reflect a love that is extraordinary, impartial, and unconditional.
And this is the final, honestly breathtaking summary of the entire teaching. It just perfectly captures that impossibly high standard. The goal isn't just to be a little bit better. The goal is moral perfection, modeled after the divine. And it's meant to be a lifelong direction, not a destination you just arrive at one day.
So, we're left with this provocative thought. This sermon takes the entire concept of goodness and moves it from a checklist of things you do to the inner world of your thoughts, your motives, your intentions. So what happens to a person, or even to a whole society, when the ultimate standard of goodness is no longer just what we do with our hands, but who we are in the deepest parts of our hearts? That's the challenge that Matthew 5 leaves us with.